냠도 된 시대.
냠도 시다.
네.
네, 먼저 당 위점도 생겼. 그러면
So we'll recite together if you're praying.
그런 좀 언제 이거 있나? 내 구셔.
This is just asking, do you have a chant master? 제단 조예 조남라 장조바 약손제 나게 소게로 소남게 도라 당겐도 예 저단 조예 조나 장조바도 다네 약손제 나게 진소 예배손 Gola benje sangen rubar sho. Chedan joge jana amlai janjo mardo dane gyapso onje dage jinso gebe sona. Gola benje sangen rubar sho. Lewa dan dewe gyu dan denpa gyu je semje damje donga. Donga ge gyu dan dewa gyu je semje damje. Da men dewa gyu je semje damje ye chadan ye dan da. Ayama ne ba gyu je. Lewa dan dewe gyu dan denpa gyu je semje damje donga. Donga ye gyu dan dewa gyu je semje damje donga. Nindawa gyu je semje damje nye cha. Yabe da yamo ne bo gyu je. Dewa dan dewe gyu dan denpa gyu je semje damje donga. Dewa gyu je semje damje donga. Mebe dewa dan mendo. Semje damje nye jada nye dan dege dan yama ne ba gyu je. Sangye Shendo Ede Uai Ogunamda Shenlai Jebai Sho Eda Mangurana Mandana Kamniagaya.
Now, for my life, I take refuge in the
In the sun. This breakfast. May I and Buddha.
All fashioned.
General enlightenment. There's a practice in the Buddha that I created this practice. Then say the Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. Wanted enlightenment. Created the Buddha.
And by
Created this practice. Say the Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. All sentient beings enjoy happiness in its causes. May all sentient beings be free from suffering in its causes. May all sentient beings be never separated from joyful bliss. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free of vice, attachment, and anger. May all sentient beings be happiness.
May all sentient beings be free from suffering in its causes. May all sentient beings never be separated from joyfulness. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment, and anger. May all sentient beings enjoy happiness and its causes.
Some happiness.
May all sentient beings be free from suffering and its causes.
Suffering.
May all sentient beings never be separated from joyful bliss.
May
May
all
all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment, and anger. Brown and moist with perfume, strewn with flowers, mount blue.
And then there's a part of
Like the sun and moon. I visualize this good field and offering. May all living beings enjoy the pure land. Yadam Puru Ratna Mandalakam Niratayam.
So today the Google Lundugi region to win what region wiki piggy oh tila. Yawadi of Sonami shits also. Sonami share legend with Tombaki top show silipa. Region town some big Yawadi and Sanjan Tamjaki Chito wherever. Wherever in the one Yawadi any dilatene. 이거 손놈다 이식이 쳐서네 이 손놈기 쳐다 이식이 쳐서네 때라테니 이는 사지지 에네다 주인이 토퍼쇼스네 말음다 제 말음 바타 말음 도스타바레스
Nagarjuna, in his precious jewel, Garland of Precious Jewel, at the end of the text, he made a prayer, dedication prayer, whatever which was merit that he had collected by composing this text, may this be dedicated for the all sentient beings, in attaining two bodies of the Buddha. So merit collected, referring to positive merit and wisdom merit. So he dedicated that towards all sentient beings.
어때디 누가라 디 다든다 응랑주기 다 로버도 대바춘비기 최출 최냠len 책인지나 링과 이승기 그거 카레디지 지기잖아요. 아니 삼전 탐제 사이에 비교를 무거. 다 사이에 비교 때라 이니로 손은 그 좋다 이식 소니. 다 오다 손은 그 좋다 이식 좋라 때문에 사이에 고팡 토파쇼 선네 다던다디 디레테 이나양 요 가르치 이나양 사이에 비교 가르 이나양 덥지기 규대 손은 그 좋다 이식 소니 차려 다들라고 맞대죠.
So we as practitioners of a greater vehicle, whatever Dharma practice that we do, we always dedicate merit that we acquired from creating virtuous activity through physical, verbal, mental, for all sentient beings in attaining the ultimate objective of enlightenment. And so the course of attaining enlightenment, two accumulations of merit and wisdom. So in a way, whatever virtuous activity that we do to attain enlightenment sort of included within these two activities.
어때 인도가라 다 소놈기 초당 이식의 초생 유니버티 아니 사기지 꾸니 토비 유초데 차디를 왔다.
And these two positive merit and merit of wisdom considered as the two primary cause of attaining two bodies of Buddha.
그래 다 꾸니 토비 유나 또 꾸니데 이시주고당 우스꾸니제 다 zugu topchigi yude sonam gitso. Sonam gitso la teni sangigi zugu top. Ishi gitso la teni sangigi ishi chukto.
And two bodies of Buddha here are Dharmakaya or truth body and form body. And Dharmakaya is considered as the result of wisdom accumulations. And the form body is considered as the result of accumulations of positive merits.
다 어느 군이 topchigi yu 초니 시그러와. sonam gitso ta ishi gitso. 다 sonam gitso di karire siddhugala. 다 tiring nganzi chegi gi ini yala dumbote sonam gitso chadwere.
So in order to attain those two bodies of Buddha, there are two kind of corresponding respective sort of sok accumulations, and the one is with Tibetan Sonam positive merit, and today what we are going to talk about sort of comes under this merit collection.
근데 이시 gitso di 다 동만이 다 밤에 배 다 로 고미야들 다 시랍기 차 고미야 시랍기 차 어디다.
And the wisdom aspect includes basically whatever that cultivates and promotes, develops wisdom aspects such as getting familiarity with the understanding of emptiness, selflessness, so on and forth.
다 띠인도가라 손음 gitso 다 이시 초가 라그리 야나 람 탑싱이 라그리 꽃이 바르다.
Yes. So we also say method, two aspects of method, method and wisdom. So another way of saying for positive merit is method aspect, and wisdom is the wisdom aspect.
어디래. 되네 다람 상기기 고반 토발라 람 에네 nga rimgi ndogo ba indugala lam dita ini pe ma ke ba ta ke ba koni kondu pele ala ini sonam lapochi mena sonam lapochi masana ini pache mongpo geke mongpo sonza ini lam ini tarchin tuwa mar sonza ini tichirdu sonam ki so sawe di pe mese kichimbu chadweres.
So in order to attain ultimate objective of Buddhahood, one must go through 5 stages of the path, and beginning with to cultivate what one doesn't have, and secondly preserving what one has already cultivated and developed, and therefore one must engage in accumulations of positive merits, and without sort of sufficient positive merits, one will encounter all kinds of obstacles, as well as hindrances. So in order to kind of complete all stages and path, it is extremely important to have accumulations of positive merits.
어떻게 대인도가라 다 단달람림 춤보나라 단단한 것이 해디 요야라 두 열라dum보데 단람림 춤베네 셰고라 람림 춤베나라 딱 거니 셰고르스도 월람 기름바 마셰 공도 의신인 텐술 디셰 공거레 띵엘라티니 요레치둑 셰고르바.
So therefore, to kind of look more detail about this, we'll find this in the Lamrim Chemo, the great treatise on the stages of path. And in the Lamrim, the great Lamrim text, it comes prior to the actual kind of content of the text. beginning with how to seek a spiritual teacher, and then it moves on to what's called 6 preparatory practices.
다 어디 들어라 아니 다 연락 뒤미기 원에 아니 초사야티 다 아니 제발 쉬운 거 손상 다 드린 건데 연락 듬부티를 hindu 셔야지 도스기다.
So then at that section, stages of past text deals with the detailed explanation about 7 limb practice of accumulations of merit. So today we will go through those 7.
어디래 다 손음 속속 딥장 세계로 다 단다 엄마 애니 단다 연락 듬부티 찾아와 담 최칭 샤바 예수 이랑 애니 영화를 맨다고 아니 소화돼 버봤지 냐면서 소화돼 봐 아니 공화진이 듬부티 아 뒤오나 카니는 뒤로 버봤다 소 사바당 리파 샹와 세티 카니는 뒤로 버봐
So this 7 limb practice, 7 beginning with prostration, and then offering, and then confession or purification practice, and then rejoicing and requesting and dedication and somewhat else. So
어디래서
and dedication. So there are 7. If you miss, then we will
소화돼 버티
to solve them.
Yeah.
So the point here is that all of this will include within what we kind of twofold aspect. What we call the first one is actually the talks are accumulations of merits, and second is purifications. So in brief, all of this is included within accumulations and purification practice.
어디 편한건저 디니 람타르 뭐지라 로고이나 텔라 람타르 뭐지 로라다 튕겐건저 니투 튕겐 상고야지 당갈신 세고지 니르와
Yes.
베기 레벨라 어디 디나시 아니 먼저 디니 라메찬지기 벌기 람타르 강알친 로라 아니 튕겐 초사바 당갈신 디바쇼아니 기치시 찾아요 봤어
Just like an example, in taking a long journey, we has to have kind of 2 things. The first one is positive contributing kind of factors or conditions that must be have during journey. And secondly, the second part is aspect that is purification or clarifications of eliminations of all obstacles. So in the meaning, in taking the journey to attain the ultimate result of enlightenment, we have to have these 2 aspects, accumulations of positive merit, along with that, purifications of all obstacles.
어때 띵도가 생기 좀 된데 랑기 되노로라 손음 남미 디도 동al 탐제 센스 손음 담바 미 선반난 양 뚝스 어때 디리 그래서 손음 남미 아니 손음 사베기 남밍기 디부텔라 아니 디도 데와토바도 동al 쓸게레스
Yes.
아니 손음 담바 미 소세 삼로 खरी ट्राई चाहिए ना ती ले लेवे गनी टुकते ती मी सुनम सापे की ने इंडिविजुअल दियरेस
Yes. So therefore, in the sutra, Buddha mentioned that merit accumulations will lead to attaining of happiness and freeing from suffering, and a person with the merit will attain his all wishes.
어때 선자 수능 삭사다 티티 뱀미세 당한테 미세 첸딜 지덴베기 왔다 지덴베기 이저 지부마이 그래서 왔다 지덴베 나로라양 수능 저 때는 지도 발로 수능 싸고요 weapon ene sangi kuban tobala ta sonam sa wati ta hachangjar wata sangi yu choni sa seminde koran si korana la tomo chanju chu tu he porto kalchen rame sum so sa se di so sa di choni sa di wa ene thar tela tene ene sangi kuban to yati ta tensen sum pati na la chadan di di
Accumulations of positive merits is something that is considered needed even in attaining, a successful kind of mundane, accomplishment. And of course, it is needed in attaining Buddhahood. So generally, very common kind of expression, in attaining Buddhahood, it says that first um, generate awakening mind of bodhicitta, and then in the middle, accumulate, two causes, um, which are two merits, and then ultimately attaining enlightenment.
ene ngazo pabegi keje koran ngi chizona la keje shedi lega kare chena kora tanda tuya me tungala sorkam bale giro mare te sorkam se di keje to sodem sonam me ba yin sonam kam kyo asne keje tisi ora mite karso ta anzo ina sorkam se tungala tsi do chiro wata to sonam yona ene te jin dole shaba na ji ngoni susugi oda 총지 고주바이나 델람도 로야다 오다 로종지 고주바이나 델람도 로야다 저 가르치나 람도 로야지 레디어 왔다 다 자원 엠바디 딱 건데 수스카가르와 저 선부 가르치나 디고 석시시요야 디 당제 석시시그르데 넘노요야 디또 소름 기드부르와
In colloquial Tibetan expression, somebody who always fails, in any activity, there's an expression in Tibetan saying, dried out merit. So your merit physically dried out. That's why you are not able to accomplish or being successful. And on the other hand, people with a good merit, whatever kind of ventures, that they do, whether it's a business, education, or whatever task, it becomes successful. So the success here is really kind of then dependent upon, positive merits or accumulations of positive merits.
어디 누가라 근데 연락 도인 기고네 아니 초사야디 미시 기침 차대요
So therefore, accumulations of positive merits through these 7 limbo branches is considered as extremely important, both from the perspective of mundane as well as religious practices.
손자 다tambo 연락도 그거는 조사불라 다tambo 에네 레 초징 셀데 보르바다
So in actual practice, first one has to have visualizations of the merit field or assembly tree.
어디래 다 속징 세 지코라니 대가나 되는 소사비 징세 봐
So the word itself kind of basically tells, what it is, the typification of Surya from the Tibetan word Tsok, Shing. Tsok is accumulations, Shing is field. So that the word itself tells, sort of the point of meaning here.
어디래 다 먼저 소사비 징텔라 다 칸이 여다 손음사비 징텔라 여건초라 연락된 기고네 초바부야다 마른 아니 다 매겨라는 얘기 마르간로 아니 짐바타야 시키지 거라티 칭이들
And the field of the merit generally two forms. One, the first one is kind of, upper or above, higher object of refuge and offering to them through 7 limb practices. And then the other one is for the lower, inferior, such as rebirth, engaging in the practice of generosity and so on and forth. So there's a, upper or lower or superior or inferior to field.
어때다 초징 살때 도라다 결혼서 라마초베기 초징 넘기니 생이지나 아니 딱 간디지 메테그란 살답시나 인디르 와다 가시데 메나야 아니 도사기 좀 된디 땡기죠 아 주바체 되네 예수 이진 잠바탕 인도 이진 잠배양 안도스 살탑 아니 다든지 다 삼로 몸보 담마시나 드니지 데르바
Yes.
kasi yebu tangi na ta nyamlen chile gyu na je zamul te gyu sene lama chupani shibana jing saltam na mende payo mares.
Yes. So in visualizing the merit field, if you are familiar with the Guru Yoga practice, then you can have that visualization. If not, in the kind of more simple form, you can visualize Buddha Shakyamuni at the center, and then to his right hand, Maitreya Buddha, and then to his left hand, Manjushri. And again, depending on your practice, if you want to make it more detailed, you can then have, lineages of the Blessed One, lineages of the profound view, lineages of the extensive practices. You can go into elaborate visualizations.
Yana sagi chumden tengi to che takordo ene choji yo setan cheba tsama ene rinki nangane ye samye tere ene takordo nyara changsam sena yang samla yebata mena sangi choji sangi tamche rinna ye samye tere.
Or you can visualize space in your front, primary figure, Buddha Shakyamuni, surrounded by all other enlightened beings, bodhisattvas, the Buddhas of 3 times and 10 directions. The expression says the entire Buddha, bodhisattvas, hearers, solitary realizers. You can visualize all in front.
양 드리 그레레레 차례하게 삼로 땅 카부 차디나 에는 상기 좀 된데 지부 간디지에 메티 아버지 차 에는 상기 좀 된데 협승군디 견일라마 견이든 견이 상기에서 동안라 디 상기 찍라 쳐봤지 동안라 상기 탐지를 쳐봤지 베게 고추고 타고 삼로 코로나리 그래 막거나 찍이 고추고
Or you can visualize, if you can't, those elaborate visualization, you can just visualize only Buddha in your front. But when you visualize Buddha alone, then you visualize, what's called all encompassing refuge, the object of refuge, Buddha symbolizing, representing entire refuge object, and such as the expression usually we have, you are the Lama, you are the meditation, deity, so on and forth. So you can visualize everything in Buddha, just Buddha alone.
디 고가르에서 동안라 상기 좀 된데 상기 탐지기 에네 그래서 그렇다. 뒤송대 상기 탐지기 구순특에 연된 대이 상기 좀 된데 랑아데 봐. 비치겠다. 연된 처음에나니 다 고쳐 숨스케 봤다. 상기 고치 조건조. 대참에는 최건조 된 고된 데로 봤다.
그렇죠.
예. 다 고된 세야디 가서는 디바판 배경한데. 디 남kalta 뿌리. 디 고된 게 상기 야동 가제 이나 디 고된 최기인 텔라 캐퍼치가 이요 말. pena kamba tuji nangi nalo ge nangka ta kamba gogo nangi nangka la nangka tongsa chipi chiyar bata o ti na jin sangi gi ishi chigi ku la ko chilo ge sopta mino bar nalo ishi chigi ku la kebar chiyar mere ka chipa chadi sonza sangi chumden gi chigi ku la ta na sangi tamje la toba chagor.
More specifically, Sangye Jumde, the historical Buddha Shakyamuni, when you visualize historical Buddha Shakyamuni. And historical Buddha Shakyamuni representing Buddhas of three times and Buddhas of all attractions, speech, body, mind, and also kind of representing three objects of refuge, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. And especially when we talk about Dharma, Dharma is part which is, a cessation, and cessation, complete eliminations of all obstacles or obscurations, which is like a space. And so wisdom body of the Buddha, there's no differences of, what Buddha, and it would be like space within the house, which is rectangular shape, and the space inside the house, which is circular. There's no differences of the space in itself. So likewise, when you kind of visualize, wisdom body of the Buddha, there's no, you are kind of visualizing entirety of Buddha's wisdom.
어디래 다 초신세디 캠메베 인도가라 다양한도 섬로 단초고 근데 사게 파트메 발라 초바체나 양수는 대파트메 바 용그레스메 삼리 캐바기 당가 강망망 섬탄데 나양 걸로라 대야 여르다.
Okay. But also here, it makes a kind of more effective and maybe more kind of comfortable when you are visualizing sort of unlimited numbers of Buddhas in your visualizations. Likewise, you also accumulate that numbers of merits in your practice.
어디래 따티 인도가나티 소세기 로다 삼바 지기제 초징데 링기 남칼 세로 링기 남칼
Yes.
전된 저거 때문에 지나 태송 삼는디 거래 야나 소세라바 뿌이지 키제 아니 삼례 나로라 치대 얘는 대 여버체 내야 메네 삼례 나로라 저지게 와서다 집은 링기 남칼 촌소 삼백원에네 삼로이 코라이나 얘는 둔두 구순 도대요나 전에 구승 투다 모여메도 대소 삼삼단이 되고
So here, in having this visualization of the merit field, in the actual kind of ritual practice, you start with invitation, right? So, but if you have recitation of the invitation, then you can recite that. If not, then you can just visualize that now you are inviting at the merit field, the space in your front, and holding incense
메토
or flower. You can do that, or you can just visualize. If you have already altar set up, you visualize inviting through visualizations all the merit field, and sort of dissolves into the images that you have on your altar.
타토토 소세기 삼류슈 최종으로
Yes.
닝 답안에 상게 좀 된데 내 뭐에서 유여 선배 상게 간데 간짠데면 대단테 뭐에디나 유여 선 아니 구파라이나레 당가이나레 야구 가레데지나 대단테 뭐이 냠베 삼류슈 침부키에 되게 침부래.
Yes. And mainly here, it depends on one's kind of, say, mental strength and the mental power of your visualization. So the most important here is that whatever images that you have in front on your altar, whether it's just painting or thanga or statue, you visualize that after invitation visualization, the image that you have in front of you is a real living Buddha.
직대리 니니 먼저 구승 두된데도 렐인 삼야데 양 기제 잡아요. 그래서나 먼저 그 나로로 좀데서 따다 그런 구승 투승데 좀데서 야부주 아니 좀 뚱행기 근데 람네 때문에 야부지데 다 구승 투 징기 랍데 데라 상기기 애니 뛰긴도 데라 슈가 주버제데 람네 지디
Yes. And the other part here is that, if or when you have representatives of Buddha's body, speech, and mind on your altar or on your shrine, those were, traditionally, well consecrated, filled with, the sacred and holy object, and fully blessed, meaning those were sort of transformed into a living, the object.
ramne
No,
oti chejar sonza oti indugala ti sange mui sampe samlo te pemme se kichimbare sonza ti mui reang rede rwa rede dugala ti samabe gala shana te digo mare sa thosa dingi namkar susegi minsam da tanyebo dabuchi sha rwa ti sha goya ti nenga chi chawa karsana minsam tanyebo mashabachi 하장기 토타나야 우주 곰게디가라야 고야 켄타고야다 하장 마타네 곰마 에네 올타고 야게 네타 게도가나 딩게 남거 민sam기 테타스네 지코라네 요리 어딘지 지라서 못하스
and so it is important to visualize that Buddha in front of you is a living Buddha alive, and in fact, for the practitioner, it is considered as a living Buddha in front, and the word itself in the practice it says visualize image or the base is sort of equal in height, to your eye or eyebrow. So when you have a Buddha in front of you, it should be almost that the height should be equal to your eye, and not too kind of higher than that or not too lower than that. Otherwise, it kind of impacts the when you do meditation, kind of looking higher or looking down.
그래 되지 당봉은 저기 라이 되셔 사초 정말 샤고야 되고 깨치 제고야 또 정말 제고야 당피 디신비 두고야 되고 당봉이 예가 어디
Yes.
제고로 왔다
And earlier, Geshe said we forgot to mention, remind about cleaning the
내가
area.
지들 집어서 그제 당봉이 요
Yes. Cleaning the practice space, and then offering of incense, so on and so. Those are already kind of must be preceded.
어디래 근데 다 깨치셔지 가르도서 동안 상기지 구 구순투 야 파리나레 야 쿠코라이나레 티 토볼라 샤야마도 엘사갈라 샤야다 치로라 데메바 샤야다 다 산저탄 디데갈라 샤야티 자니네 미냠버바다
Mhm. So here,
미상 요사세티 포다 다테지 요추르네 톰보코라 내가 지도자가 세테 내가 디데 투테와
so here, important thing is treating the Buddha image with a great respect. So therefore, kind of not leaving it on the floor or in the bathroom or outside without kind of cushion, so on and forth. So therefore, in the 6 preparatory practices, the very first one is cleaning the space for meditation practice and preparing the shrine or those representatives.
상전나 그거다 상전나 제티 코드 샤르도티
Yes. So she was saying not leaving image in the bathroom, and because people do that, sort of, so not living in there.
이제 다들이 솔로타비 토네 다 tombo yala dinginan tombo chatsawa telewa 다 samnalandini charwa chene ane tombo chatsawa de
So with having gone through that process of visualizations and sort of preparation, then comes the first of the 7 limb, which is translated as prostrations.
어디래 다 chatsawa 세도 wala 다 차라 류마이 숨기 차다 류기 차 류이네 차라 간차도 kum차니 다 간차 kum차 가래나 탈모 들리지 샤고 때 뺏기지 뭐 그러봐 아니 디디제 디숨상 숨보되기 조진이 건조 숨청기 열려 그래 니네 치료 입되기 땅은 저기 누르비기 입이 일러 그래 That Nubuki in the Gola Sha in the Gola, Mountain, and Sangi, Tutor to begin, you
숨상으로 가르 숨나네.
Some the conscious.
숨 갈라. 왜 차게시도 숨 갈래.
There were say the control niche, cho control, no loche.
네. 알려서. Um, so now, although in English the word is prostration, but Tibetan chaksel, right? So chak, the first one, homage. So the Tibetan word chak, let's explain the Tibetan word part chak means, it includes, now I'll use English kind of in loose sense, prostration. There's a physical, verbal, and mental. And when we talk about physical prostration, there's a two form, right? The one where one is kind of extended prostration, in which you lie down flat, fully on the ground, and the other one is short kind of prostration, in which you touch the five part of the body to the ground. And in doing that prostration, which was talking about maintaining the hand gestures, hand folded, it has to have kind of three part or three gestures. And these three represent kind of three objects of refuge, and thumb folded inside. And with that, as gestures, you start with, taking the folded hand at the tip of the head or crown. And this represents
Golo di Chitani di Chilon Tana Nurbi Bilagrava. Di Redi Gola Shadu Tukturgi Chawars. Tuktur Tujigi Yutchawar.
So when you kind of held the gesture of this hand fold, it kind of sort of represents the jewel. And when you start with jewel, starting from the tip of your hand, it becomes the course to attain the crown of the Buddha.
Okay. Then the Dimper Jadugala Sung to check you. And a Togar Jadugala two to check you, Sanji Kusu to check.
So
Yana is she changing the nature and the nature Ninga Galacia, all Teva Jadugala, Kuji to check you. The Kaperke Marco, Sumchena to Tabare, Jiching Yore.
So you start with crown, and it represents kind of planting the seed of the attaining crown, and then you bring to the throat, representing attaining of Buddha's speech quality, and then to the heart, representing Buddha's attaining of Buddha's heart quality. And sometimes there's also four, you take one down farther, and represents kind of attaining of four Buddhas, but it doesn't really matter whether you do four or three kind of.
Okay, then Dicheta Harmon Chalep Detenita Reda go Noba Maimudu Tamutarche, Pochitangirwata. So that was the Capatia, Chatsagala, digging on the Chalep Chavina, Chatsagala, getting about the Tichanaco, Sunday Temple China, and then Sangi you could get a to be in the Bachelor Shabor.
So although usually we do what's called a flatten palm, but during a prostration it's good to do sort of proper hand folding gestures, because by doing that you are sort of keeping the latencies or impedance power to attain the future qualities of Buddhas.
Oh, the Chatsagala Susuli Jibu that Michi Luigi Rete, some Lugi Yakete, any Twiji Lui Tigi, Tuba Yadatonda Twitch. Any Luigi when you do so. Talapa Yatul Kadeji, Lunga ising, Talunga Sama, Lapa go any Dimba Ninga do Shapa Dogala, Tonda Boot, Sama, Tonda Tita, Tuba Samiki, those chats, and some like Yakit to Haina, chat chick selby, pain tigi, any painta. Tonda Tita, those to be trans and pain, pain, but my battles, younger race.
So in when you do actual prostration, then here it would be you know good to visualize, although you're only one person doing prostration, but in your visualization, you visualize, multiplying into 100,000 million billion body, and kind of extending, the yourself, multiplying it, and with that amount, you can also then have positive kind of benefits.
어떻게 다 대치단에 대원이 용그리 류가 있음이 차스네 용그로 다 류기고니 따도 세네 라핀지야체 아니 나기고니 아니 직 선부터네 사이 똑바래 야 타가나지 아 디바샤바이나 양고 이견도네 차창에 요리 다 미인담이라고 봐 차차기 미유디 소놈사시도 임바지 아니 디바샤치도 차차야 sonza miyu dhamine dhukala ti ndombate amine mira yungore. Sonza nga kicha latine taka naji nga geta tonda tita tuni chagoya. Tene I kicha la ini tse chitu tepe kone. Sangi chundandegi kusuntuke yunten shene michepe tepe kone ning tapane ani chak sayati yunga isungi chak sayati ta odilokore.
So there was briefly about physical and verbally, basically reciting, doing recitations, because of the differences of the objective of why you are prostrating. It could be for the purpose of accumulations, or it could be, purpose for the purifications of obstacles, or, so depending on that, you can recite Buddha's appreciation prayers, or if you're doing a purification, you can recite 100-syllable mantra. So depending on your objective, you can, do the recitations. And mentally, having a single-pointed devotion to Buddha with the knowledge of the qualifications of Buddha's body, speech, and mind. So that's how, physically, verbally, mentally, you do prostration.
어디랬다? ene chatsadiigala tupe yangda jebe kwane yang tani chatsinge yor yendune yore ta kanji kanta ene shalinga yisungi kwane chat sedugala chat sal sedugala kyaki hyabgo de chigi sekanda wajiri sonza ti indugala ngagirgi nimbur duwar
So some prostration can be done with sort of, music or tone. One can do with that. The word itself, chaksel, Tibetan, although again, doing prostration or chaksel, the word, it has meaning, meaning of saying that I am, I am surrendering myself to you completely. So in that sense, it's also kind of antidotes to the haughtiness or arrogance.
오케이 다디 차서 건들디지 침바치로 와이크란서 뒤긴도 차디 유가야랑네 아니 구텐 둥두 차숨차나 에메세게 다고 요알진 사거보다
Yes.
다고 zubu기 강알리나 코네다 가가르 모도제 간자 살나 양티페 꿈차레 이거 랍치여라 가지스나 가지스기 수수 zubu디 사가나 캡티 데 싸우기 에네 tilten 나로 이게 배심자다 메파트 솔라잉 에네 차 세위기 에네 파인스네 민도 찔러데 콘솔렌 주네 콘솔라양디 에네 디기터야기 또 펜시고
So there was briefly about, the first one, prostration, and so it would be good to do, prostration at the morning, if you have a shrine or altar 3 times, and unless you have some physical problems, and if you can, then do kind of, kind of straight, flat, extended prostration, because it has more benefit than the short prostration, and it is considered that when you extend fully your body, whatever beings that comes beneath your body get sort of blessings, and you accumulate that numbers of positive merits.
그래 tako 인지민지 양 경금 제거예요 말에 뒤서면은 생육구수 도수 돈 잡아다 라베기 도지 닝타반에 때바지 라베기는 지난 되기보다
Yes. And
하이 헬로다 버리 자고다
so if you are short in time, then you don't have to actually do entire procession. You can just do a hand gesture with the good intention, and it would become kind of high hello to your Buddhas.
야 아니 어디 자기 것 처럼 아니 차차와다 첫징 세동하다 초바시면 초바 비에
Yes.
아니 초바 비에디 오늘 지나다 구순도 되게 땐tam제 초바 요매 좀 고반 제벌 샴바세데 당보 참아서 공도 초바티 따다 샴투바지 오월다티 손자다 초바 샴이야디라 초바디 당가란 저기 야 초바 띵딘저 띵라시라 케요 말다 딘샤고에디 양코라코라 아 레 자가르기 일체단 템베고니 아니 자가르기 로보티조 나로 덴티시 인도갈라 아니 당보 다 자가르 차이티 인도갈라 당보에네 렘사 원다 레바다 아니 곰추 부도와 추직디레 아니 춘니바데 갑디디 망체 간신라 인도갈라 갈라 퇴기치 라바 퇴기치도 추지부거리 춘니바디레 아니 티셰라 티 트위서서나 렘상 나로 바용 공도 켈라 메토 요야지 요레 아니 팅 숨바티 메토레 체제시 메토 스르바 아니 메토디 숨바티 차소 아니 엔티당김도 메토 아니 나로 타 칠라 삼말 페이 두고 티짐 페이 두고 아니 티체 아니 메토도 페 아니 나로라 테네 젤라 레디 슈두가나 나로라 아니 저제 갈라 테네 marme parni shagir wata di tisan shagir do ro o ti che marme che me to turpe marme ene tichap se to ala dene tichimbu tukar choyaki tichimbu odire pechu ta tisan ina re pechu re che me to turpe marme ene jalze se to ala ta jela ngomati ene last la romo yore din romo da din sanswa dumba romo into gala jala salsa vesula en ko je ta che yang te kajina ene music tangor wa oti ti ta tin che ene din di ta kobaina dugo ta di
Kechaso.
din
Kechamas.
romo di yomare di gala romo di tingina yomare
Yes. So second is, seven limb practice or branch. Second is offering. And the offering in the six preparatory practices, in that you already have kind of shrine set up, altar and offering. And so in offering, we usually use this, offering bowl, right? And the quality doesn't really matter, but the number usually is 7, 7 water bowl, and that was according to the tradition of ancient India. And so in ancient India, being kind of hot, humid, when first guests arrive, first we'll offer a water to drink. And then second, we'll offer another, a water that is to wash, hand and feet. Mostly, when he enters the house, comes in without shoe. And then third, they will offer a flower garland, and that's the, flower. And then the next one is offering of, incense, incense. And then next is lamp. And next one is incense water, basically apply at the kind of, body or at the heart. And then 7 comes the offering of the meal. So representing these 7, have 7 offering water bowl.
야, 테네 티제라 루모티야 요 와타 루모티코
Yes.
저기는도 루모티 레 코트 루모티 틸로드로 든들레 디토샤.
Yes. So after that has a music, and to represent the music, usually it is performed through using a bell and washer.
타티 둠보디 풀세 율 소소요 원봉알 풀워. 와 더비 인데 나요 타티 풀세 단다 존다티로 리자 알바
Yes.
존다티로 리자 나티 보티 아니 상기기 아니 원봉아 일도 풀워. 테 풀도가라 초바디 디 동보디 잘라체 니바디 류라체 메토디 메토디 젠라체 메토 두페디 샹라체 저 메토 두페 마르메디 마르메디 젠라 이스레 메토 두 마르메 에니 티찹데 툴라체 툴라테지 부추데와 디진비기 쿠아들 디툴라체 그래서 아니 뿌이디 샹라체 아니 롤모데 녜라체 상소
And within those 7, the 5 what's called 5 objects of desire were offered to the 5 senses of the enlightened being. So water to the mouth, and flower to eye, incense to nose, incense water primarily to the heart, and lamps to the eyes, and music to ears. No.
티레 다티나니 양 소남기초 잡바디조 소남기초 기루 두거레 마르메디 이시기초 기루 두거레
So within those 7,
꿀비 파인디 시거 바타 겨
yes, within those 7, the respective benefit, the lamp is for the accumulations of wisdom merit, and the remaining 6 accumulations of just merits.
그래서도 갈라 잡바디조다 소남 사비 유대로 relevori 마르메디 첼라 플리아디 마르메디기 머비 문바슬 거봐 마르메디 코라코라 빠지기 문바슬 거봐
Yes.
손자 셔럽디기 이시디기 머리 문바슬 거 손자 아니 셔럽 천된데 손자 아니 딩성 고바디졸라 마르메자다 돈다 플리아디 다 셔럽게 지도 소놈 소사에 그래요 디르다.
And offering of lamp, which is also to the eyes, represents illuminating the darkness, and for gaining a wisdom, because wisdom kind of illuminates darkness, and so therefore in the monasteries you see offering hundreds and thousands of lamp.
Okay, tene yang samjat chikhe wa. Tengo je kek tan de gala yala tene kek ma che gong do yala pu tene se ge do. Tangone number de ji na. Yala se di ko ta tendel se ke chago mare ti du bi kong do ba ta. Sonza kasing ngome ina ti ko ta su su ge chata ji ro ta number ji na yang kora tela pa pe gi ko ta tendel se di ko korayan tili ya sia yor sonta ene kendel mans parni jashana ene ko sharap pelya tan sering den de ko ta ten de chegerma puta sesha to gana sepate chiwate meba chabaro ta di ta chiri mi do sonta ko di ten den ngon gyua yong to se.
So you're saying he has suggestions when celebrating a birthday. And when we celebrate birthday, first you have a candle, right? And then when we celebrate, then we just blow out the candle. And it's just a kind of tradition, and tradition and sort of rituals that people follow. And what kind of rituals and tradition that you do, it's really up to us, how you want to kind of take that tradition as a sort of symbol or representative. And as a Buddhist, it would be better not to kind of blow off the candle. Rather just, burn some and leave it on the side, keep it burning, and so that it can kind of, sort of auspiciousness or the tradition of gaining, wisdom.
어때샤더니 초밥해야 직접 다 무엇 샴다 이기 둘래 그러봐 무엇 부야디 메토 단티졸라 땅가 뉴즈 마트메 요마데 툼나 카운트도 딘디 세그 말와 수수기 풀 툼나 띵 링기 세그 말에 띵 예플란데 그래 우 주플란데 그래 다 간자간다 무엇 부야디 연나 빼야 버려 야더니 티다 냠돌라 양손을 쳐사야라 choba puya le chiza chitungi choba puwa asini la yore kora yung nana yore ruwa
Yes.
susu kare zagi kare tuya di tiku yar koncho le puyar ten sona la pachi sawar
And the sort of mode of doing offering, usually in the, says kind of two ways: actual offering, and then second is offering through visualizations. So the actual offering, as we said earlier, usually, we offer through kind of using 7 bowl, offering bowl, but it can be 8, 10, depending on sort of your capacity. And so if you can, actual offering, that's good. But then there's also offering through visualization. And in the actual offering, in the text, it also says that, offering whenever, whatever that you are consuming or eating or drinking, basically. So offering that, prior to eating or drinking.
그래 그 인지미지 구이 뗄라 샤고에 깨깨 여므로 그 가반 너나 서지 가래 커피 통고 있나 라파 모질레서도 가나 담배 섬나나 군자술래 쳐바시피 괜찮다
So the second part of offering, it doesn't has to be happen in front of altar or stage or images. As soon as you have a mug in your hand, you can do the offering, whatever you are drinking, eating.
어디 다선자 어디 다 쳐봐 피야티 다 법이 지소나로라 되는 망체 다 법이 지소 세면도 히말라야 리교 다 누구도 좀 상맥이 다 나사만의 최상지 예약하고 다 디나로라 디 빈자지 예약하래다 디 빈자지 예약들 피야 되나이니 메토드 된데 피야 되가 말데 추인지미지 부르 때 추푸고의 기제 가르에서도 갈라 아니 치타니 가리나 피야디 세나메부터는 푸고 아니 세나메부터 갈라 이전발라 세나토스도 키고 추티랑 먼저 세나메도 갈라 추푸야기 기제 찍들이 니니 추대 자와당 당마당 자와 천재인도 갈라 아니 디기 심 당마 여야기 이체도 딱한지간다 추푸야디 이긴선들 그 펜체다 보지 간지간다 요다
So across, the Himalayan region, almost all the people, they have a small shrine room, in their home. And in the shrine room, the minimum kind of offering they have is always at the minimum 7 water bowl offering. And those 7 bowl, as said, water bowl, they're offering the water. And the reason why water is used for offering is because in the offering, the best kind of most important quality or feature is offering without any sense of stinginess or miserliness. So to the water, you don't have that feeling. And so therefore, the offering of water represents kind of, without any sense of stinginess, water represents purity, also clarity. So there are those kind of benefits. And for that purpose, water offering.
다 응외수원에 대다 벌네 이기 다 대지 라바나진레 야 초파 동다 마부 아니 메도 동다 티타 붐다 삼절레 끼니 갈때 다음에 봐다 초바르르 다음에 봐 이기 둔이 플레이어레 응외수 som데 이기 다 군자 잠비 초틴 세네 요레 다디 디초카미도 간토르바 알레 오틴데지 토네 아 풀나데양 손음페 예규 동교 로피제 사야기 디요타.
And those were the actual kind of offering, but then additional to that, you can do offering through visualization and then kind of multiplying, into 1,000 million times. And these are in the offering of, Samanta Batra, always kind cloud, offering, the ways of doing offering and comes in that. So kind of multiplies, the numbers of offering that you do through visualization.
어떻게 다디 찾아와지 다 저징 샤베나 세디 다디 양까지 비슷하대로 봐.
Yes. And then the next one is confession practice, which is also another important one.
야, 다 샤베나 세도라. 디다 당은저 참마기래. 아니 뒤숨도 아니 배다 미게웨 뉴모도 숨기 왕기 에데디페기레 모버지 제대로 와. 아니 배 도마메반에 저러 도마메반에 제대로래. 어디 친디라야 제대로래. 마음번에 제버기워래. 아니 디파 모보지 사디도 갈라 디파티기 디부텔라 아니다. 동안이야 임바텐 켈사 왔다. 그 유지의 친제가라 유창나 엔 디부테 에네 베가지고 중요하고 중요해 봐. 윤리 땐들기 중요해 봐. 선자 어디 삼거스 디마삼나 에네 디파텔레라고 먼저 샤로직 말았다. 다 마샤나 디부티 뇨야 녜차. 내나 동안 뇨야 선자 먼저 동안 민도 봐 이제 인도가나 에네 디파샤이 메시지 심차데.
Confession. Under the power of, affliction from the time beginninglessness, long time in the past as well as current, as well as future, when we are under those afflictions, we did create many non-virtuous activities in the past. We are still creating it. In the future, we will be continuing creating those non-virtues out of, under the power of those poison or afflictions. And because as long as there's a cause, there's a result. Result will follow. That is the, the nature, reality of, dependent arising nature. So it's important to have that kind of thought, in the confession practice. So if you don't confess or purify negativities, then it is certain that you're going to experience the result of non-virtuous activity. And when that happens, it is certain that you're going to suffer. Since we all doesn't want to be suffer, it's important to kind of, to have this practice of purification, which is very important.
선자 다 지단에 리팔라 리파 뉴모발라 견마도 연대내지 요마레 이나야 아니 리팔라 연대내지 카리오리스 동라 리파 아니 샤네 타유에 바디 리비기 연대 이나르 장콜라야 미세기 연대 야게 요마르.
So generally, when we talk about non-virtuous or sinful or unwholesome activity, there's nothing good about it except one, which is that we can purify it.
선자다 리파 샤네 타야텔라 샵술텔라다 니부터 비시고네 샤야디 뱀메세기 좀 차도.
And through confession, the purification is done through what's called four, antidote powers, and those are important.
어때? 다 담보 땡기도 세도갈라. 다 그런 속에 다 담보 디바 미고 제보된 건저 하고 왔다 건저 체딜라 디바페 너도 뭐 제로 왔다 미절은 너 제요를 때 섬제 뭐 세요를 딱 그니 먼저 그배 류가 있음 경우는 배 그니 디바 잡진 제대요 다디 맞이가 그 수이나 거보러 봤다 다디 디바디도 일을 거르지 섬내는 거르지 디바이 뭐 셰니 아니 배티 티기 디부티 다 마샤나 때는 치마 동al 녀야다 때 동al 티 거르 녀야잖아 디바토 좀 버잖아 거 녀야나 인도야 땡게자래 아니 딩기 tundo래 이다래 아니 타마 tun도나 깨도 땡게자래 다 손상은 때 녀야이다 tun도나 수킹인데 킹도 말와 때 킹이 맞어라 다티 깨기 유디 매바 맞아 맞도 나이 기 매서는 데데서 매 다티 유디 매바 가르쳐 걸어서도 그러 니부터 지고는 샤야 거라 다티 탐람 티치불
For antidotes or remedial powers, to begin with, we all know that we have done some form or kinds of non-virtuous activity, harming others, killing through physical, verbal, mental, and it is almost kind of hard, impossible not to create any of these. And so therefore it is important first to kind of identify, that you have did something wrong, non-virtuous or sinful activity. And with that knowledge, and if you don't purify or purify, then it is certain that you are going to experience the result based on the strength of non-virtues that you have created, and extreme, most powerful rebirth in the hell realm, medium, hungry ghost, small animal realm. And nobody wants to kind of, Buddhist practitioners to take rebirth in the lower realms. And simply saying that I'm not going to reborn doesn't work. You have to kind of purify, and the purification method is these four powers, through four powers.
오케이 다 손자 오다 디바 디 딘디 디바 디 소제 삼로 코렌도 가라 삼로 야야 코렌도 가라 또 콘도 송한테 비긴 건줄라 니 겨바지 깨운 거다 다 또데 나로 손나 당아지 지 가르치 그래 다 림삼 뱃기네 또데 대야기 다시 지는 맹가 죽으러 봐 오다 어딘디 삼지 먼저 코를 거야 림삼 샤야기 다시 깨운 거다.
So when you have such kind of thought, or sort of very convincing thought, then you would have immediate response, just like having kind of taken poison. You want to do it immediate remedy, whether kind of going to emergency or trying to kind of free from that, and you will have that come sort of naturally after that thought.
오케이 테니 누가라타 샤야기 탑람델라 다 년복군도 주베 또다 오나 샤나 거와 샤워에서 누가라 땡기 중도 땡이나 땡고서 두대이나 배워버 다 능경 아주 초심지 요거를 해야 돼 내가 대대도 대진 아주 초심 라인바 에레 인계고에 디 내가 대다 어디를 두고 초심 둔두 때는이 다발이 뺐다 아 비저다 어디 땡겨야 돼 땡기 톱제다 두슬람들도
So when you have such a strong kind of wish or desire to purify your negativities, usually it is done in front of the what's called basis. So within the basis or support, that's the first one, power of support, and you do that with a great sense of regret, which is the second remedy power. And for that reason, you need to do in front of something. So therefore, that's the reason people keep shrine room, merit field kind of image or painting.
손자다 되게 눈도 니보고도 좀 톱제 되네 야 땡기 톱 아니 그래서 니발라도 버리대
But thing adoption, and you sunshine adoption, and tombe adoption, and you
땡기 또와 땡기 또다 예발라도 붙어비자
Yes.
다 예발라도 붙어서도 갈라 다 땡기기 노트 제바티 땅에 뱀메세 디미도 따빠 대지 두 콘도 도와서 버데 대샤고 해셔 큐니 디미도 따이나 내는데 노트 제바티 디바사바티 서 니니 디미도 따잉은 띠마소 섬데게 날 지겨들라 게슴치야티 보다 예발라도 봤어야 돼
So, power of regret, which is the intensity, should be, as we said earlier, as if you have taken a poison, that now you have, sort of absolute strongest regret that I have done something wrong. And then with that, having a great sense of regret or remorse of not sort of repeating the same thing again is the another power.
어디래 다 손자 닝 타파리 애니 따티 지기면서 베타 어디래 돔 도심께 누가라 따티 매바 탑시 제데 탑시 데카르에서 동나다 님베토 님보군도 줍베토 다 님보 카르에서 동나 디 다야기 치도 하나가 저기 yen기 소 줘봐이나 디기 님보텔라 아니 yen기 소 줘야 야 미잠발 칭감발레 뒤에나 디 님보텔라 미잠발 떠라타야 딱고 저거 겨주다 미고 주요
Yeah.
어떤 미고 주제나 디 님보 겨주지 디 딱고 님보군도 줍베토
So therefore, when you have this strong, kind of regret and not repeating the same thing again, you have sort of taken a resolution. So it's power of resolve, third. And then once you have that power of resolve that you are not going to do the same thing again, as a method, then what you do is you engage in, kind of action, the another action. So it's translated as a power of action as an antidote, which basically means you are engaging in the activities opposite of the 10 non-virtuous activity. Saving a life, appreciating, doing good things, benefiting others.
다들이 근데 따티나네 님복군도 저 뵙게 또 깨치셔디 전주 기삼다 돈이 있다고 미야티 딱 깨치셔야
And among the power of action as an antidote, there are many, but most two important or the highest form are the practice of bodhicitta and emptiness.
어디래 다 로버트 부딪히다 돈반이데 준주리 니번한테지 안줄라게 두어 준주 니리 니번에 셔바나지 사무타야레 엔테나니 준주 나로라 디바 신도 답전잖아요 팔라테는 집어침보다 칼라테는 이게 좀 어디라 디치는 게 찜이된 세네 시디레 뒤태 메신라 뒤기 탐메메스 동안라 벤 지텐 치도에게 메지어로다 까바탐메메 인질레 말하는 거이나
Yes.
어디기 지텐 요소 잡아 색 되게 니바요로와 디나지 장주기 셈 디기 저기 원바탕 길레께바 있는데 이인 거봐 때 원바 잠경 에네페 뒤템메나진데 수수기 인가제비 틱바 신도 미자 봤다 덮침보 참에길레드소 에네 따투 그래 진에 따송을
And the
나로 송
was the practice of these two explained in chapter 2 of Shantideva's Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life, right? So it talks about, just like fire at the end of eon,
어떤데디 챕터 동번에 있어
first chapter, fire at the end of eon, referring to fire that destroy, the entire kind of universe. Just like that kind of intense power, the practice of bodhicitta, of course, if you have cultivated, there's a great benefit. But even in trying to meditate, practice bodhicitta would purify, clarify non-virtuous, including the sort of unlimited or immeasurable non-virtuous sinful actions.
다디 레르 와페나 저기 젤라 디바 젤라 때네 디바 사야디 젠 마가 왔지 바다 젠 마이기 왔지 바다 젤라 동al 좀 샤다레 되어봐 다 단다간데 잔주기 셈 되기 셈전 이여도 저 정말 배 년을 따로 봐 년기 달도 말다 봐다 만나신기 딘점보 임바다 인도가라 따다 고랑 거기 인연보 로도 그렇다 디고 일베이나 것 dimeba chayagi kuma je shetu budo.
Yes. And that is, in fact, true. And we can know through that kind of, say, logical understanding. Because when we are talking about, creating sinful, negative, non-virtuous activity, that activity itself is in nature harming others, bringing suffering, pain towards others. When you are engaged in the bodhicitta, what you are doing is you are doing exactly the opposite. You are trying to see all sentient beings as somebody who is close, near to you, and the ultimate sense, somebody who is kind of loving, caring as your mother. And when you have that kind of outlook, able to see all sentient beings through that, then there will be always, a sort of good, positive reaction from your side, which is the exact opposite of non-virtuous action.
어디에 다른 건좀 몸이 싫어 왔다 만로 셔더니 다 딘도초니 다 디바타 출직시고 다양 아조니 야텔이 잡도록 숙치라도 거리 장주 샘기 짐베 오니 테네타 이게다야레 오다 되반데야레 오다 이니 레이 나저기 거니 야 디바타야 또 많이 zam보고 알수 같은데 요다.
Yes. So those, four remedial powers are mainly in the system of sutra, but then in the Tantra or Vajrayana system, additional to having a bodhicitta, one can engage in the practice of reciting 100 syllable mantras, recitations of appreciation prayers, as well as engaging in the meditational deity meditations, so on and forth.
라포도 테네 라 민데와 레레요야디 다 겐자테네 더지스페 곰데에서도 더지셈바디 믹셀기 애니페 디파타 심제넘기 디바타비 잉 차디어레 더지셈바고라 그래서 티체도 디바타비 칠도 아니 더지스페 구리 심바라바다 잉네 아니 더지스페가 이게데 내가 반자사도 समायसे 이게 딜다야들이 아니 더딜다는 반자사도 해서 돼야래 다 이게 봄 다바이나 아니 디박 가세요나 때문에 별가 치기 열라고 했다 다기 열라고 다디 마기로라도 지는 기치고다.
And the reason why there are so many kind of manifestations of different deities is that reason. The Vaishya is for purification practices, and the very reason why Vaishya came into such kind of form or shape is for the sake of purification, and therefore reciting short version of Vaishya prayer or 100 syllable mantra, it can purify all non-virtuous or sinful actions.
아니 다 더지스페 곰데 제도가라 다 초가 디다 것들이 용미도 돼. 다 협점지 컨디시 곰고도 세도가라 소소 길도 에네 베 음제너버체 리더러버체 아니 예수 파당 연도마 아니 yap도 소소기 니코르 에 대yap도 년천 대yap도 아니 로미즈 베심자 차마 예선 배고니 삼로키야들이 삼로티 깨비토니 아니 좀 된데도 지서 발랐지 지도 소탑 아니 다 다시 라바나지레 아니 네 토마 메판에 달다버데 디바티티티 제샤 들어 톨세도 가나 톨징 샤나세도 가나 도샤페나 요레 톨세도 가나 디파스 베네샤나데 말 디바티 체바티 밀라 셰샤나 디 디바티 야루도르 사나티 상은 저기 미세 타시 정인데도 네 미세 인생 플러스라 프란도샤네 디바 야루도 디바티 야루도
Although we won't be, of course, go into detail about Vajrasattva meditation, but it's very kind of brave of visualization. You visualize yourself sitting in posture and kind of leader, and then you right, left, you visualize your parent surrounded by other human fellows, animals. So you can visualize huge gathering, and then you kind of request
leader gets with the
those. So if you as a representative or leader of the gathering, you then make appeal to Vajrasattva. And with the visualization that since the beginninglessness time, I've been creating all those non-virtuous activities, and whatever I have accumulated or created non-virtuous, I'm going to sort of confess or express. She was using a Tibetan word "tol," which means kind of "tol." Yeah, it's kind of confess or kind of make it open. And because he was saying it is just like in a kind of legal system, when somebody express confess, it's a lesser kind of lesser punishment or lesser. So just like that, it kind of helps benefit.
Oda di tolwas da sangi dundu labu warwa. Toljing stene ta niba kudu chobita jing unzu ke sher. Ene ngegi diba dinde chesha. Ene ta chiche chigime samne de tengi dundu tamja chedere. Nga chela gesem tabu chedere. Rwa. Tene teishe la ene niba kudu choba setu ta iya tanya. Ta iya tanya do la ene doji sempegi tukani bajra sato ta kinazo I bajra sato tsiti thaya yona ya por mena bajra sato si tsikora ndibor ti kora igi oikin namba goni doji sempe tukani ma chung sosegi ene ui chitu ni ma tin otiki shugi nologi dipa tamche solki namba ta petkuni chilo tensong sampe samlo yanta tida nyamdo nga tangir katsitang na ta sabati kondigir.
So confess and then purify. Basically, on behalf of all, you as acting as a leader, you kind of confess, those non-virtuous activity that you created, and then kind of having a sense of great regret that I'm not going to repeat those again in the future, and you are making a commitment to Vajrasattva. And then you move on to, from the four powers, power of action. And as a power of action in this regard, reciting, Vajrasattva, the short mantra, or you can recite the 100-syllable mantra. And again, you visualize, in shorter form, Vajrasattva, the mantra at the heart of Vajrasattva, and then in the form of light, you visualize light entering in your body from the crown. And as it enter into your body, you visualize cleansing, and all the negativities kind of, comes out of your lower part of body in the form of soot or black, color or so. That's how you kind of, keep reciting the mantra.
Ene ta dipati chaya dugala ene susi lui di shelki rajin ene doji sebi tati digido ta kozo lui di shelki rajin di gyursong samyatere ditip ta ne susi nyinga ni ojidwe samje tamje lapo samje tamje ki ditip ta song samne salo yayang koreyati ta jimpengi chawa lapchingi chato yorgoda.
And so you engage in such process of visualization, and then kind of, you visualize your own body turning into crystal clear kind of glass after purification and confession being done. And then from your heart, you visualize the same light, radiating towards all other sentient beings. And that's kind of, benefiting other sentient beings.
Di kero zoge ta nimarere thimarere chayana ta vitip thaya te indare tsendila yang ne nata mewa yagi ko nyung yobayina ngabutaya gi ko di tablam chere deyore ene ngini ta dipati tipata nganta sa deyor pata di shambu korba and this tatu re so ti chena pemsi yabutos.
So if you're able to do that visualization of Vajrasattva one time in a day, it would be very good and helpful, of course, to purify negativities, as well as it can help sort of in healing, if you have any physical illness or disease.
그래 공생자 말까지 샤워.
Are we taking a break or not? Yes? Okay. Yeah,
야시.
가만 주.
딥
Okay,
브레이크.
tea break.
영어 보러 들어왔다. 디어트렌지 샤워라.
잠시만요.
아.
이번에 잠시만요.
디어트렌 라스트를 잘 가져.
저는 라스트.
라스트 때에 아래다 찾아와도 저진 셰바다 예수이랑 세다 샤베젤라다 예수이랑 게 연락되더라. 연락 좀 봐.
So beginning with prostration, offering, purification or confession, and then next fourth one is rejoicing.
알레 샤베 연락된데 찾아서 돼. 땡기 또 님부군도 좀 또.
네, 드었게. 돌도 드었어. 시. 톱시드 드었어.
톱시드
드었어.
아니 진짜 균이 미쳤어야 돼.
네, 드었어.
진짜 솔바게 미쳤으면 dom섬
담배 톱대요. 담배.
데네다 예수이랑 세디 라젠기 요라 아니 예수이랑 해야 된다.
Yes. And rejoicing is rejoicing in the positive deeds created by oneself as well as of others.
다들이 뒤숭기 사기 넘기니 섬진기 돈 러프친 제당 제신배기 이게 왔던 아니 다다기 사기 마음배 사기 전주세바 아니 참에 다 냐랑 빠빠라 좀다 너는 가랑 저기 김제 연재기 저의 야복 수지 제기에나야 전라 펜베 삼려군에 가리지 저거는 딜라 야보레 펜버쇼 세네타 닝 타바네다 이런 제들.
Yes. So rejoicing in the activities of the past Buddha, present, future, as well as the bodhisattvas, hearers, arhat, solitary realizers, all sort of down to one's neighbor, whatever positive activities, good things that they have done out of thoughts of benefiting others, really appreciating them and rejoicing them, and that whatever that they are doing, may it truly bring benefits to whatever they intended for from the depth of one's heart.
디 메시지 개정부 차원에 가르치동라 먼저 초사 디바장세 되게 시발에 초사발라 아니 수수행문이 용어보다 뭐 갈래야먹어 봐 아니 yengi gawati patela yesu iran che pemise lela borata te lela be to gala chawal lapchen le labe goni chawal lapchen ji tuyondi tati pemise gi kechum chate.
And this is important in a sense that earlier we talked about, accumulations of positive merits and purifications of negative activities. Unlike those, this rejoicing doesn't need there's no personal expenses, no kind of effort. You don't need to spend any wealth, possessions, but it creates, immense benefit, and it's really powerful, yet it's extremely simple to do.
Tindugala any jermuchiki tojo dilemenolola bapa chungi lapchen chodule gela jesuiran chodo song slarita bapa chungi bapa satana shira beji chimbuchi mogaji beji chunjinji beji chunji garasene tele iran chede tende jige bapa chungi gi enepe jingi gola jesuiran chede chola puche res Baba Chungi Lapjin Sodule, Asia like Dola Jesu Yera, Adi Choto Gurnani, go Choto.
So therefore, Lama Tsongkhapa in his short text, "The Destiny Fulfilled," he mentioned that that which requires very little effort, yet creates immense positive merits, and therefore rejoicing, appreciating virtuous activity creates immense merit, or is one of the supreme kind of forms of collecting merits. And as he said, it requires extremely kind of small sort of effort from your side. It's just in a sense of appreciation or rejoicing.
Chikdiri Yengi Gawala Jesu Iran Chepati, Rangi Gawala Jesu Iran Chepati, Susi Gawati Ya Compel to Dobachi, and Nubacheru Tangor.
And the other point here is that when you rejoice in virtuous activities of yourself and others, it further kind of strengthened what you have already done.
The Sangichum de Shaljupe Kabla, Tene Jabu Karina, Jabu Tangami Tata Tingim to say Yaina, Yabuzinji Buina, Chumetona Parva, Chumetona Mapopar, Pegawala Chinche, Jabeki, some Lukonon and Langeti, Sonam Sagi, Sambeki, Ngayeki, when they touch Chumetona Parva. Ene ama mo gamu jiyor. Ama mo gamu di takora mo gamu longken chinga mekenchi. Ti ta gyabegi tini gwa lapchin che chome pa da so ba jana chimba ta la so ba gwa lapchin che pa to yendo gala mo gi pe sem ting ni gyabegi gwa che pa la jesu iran che pa. Kyaba sonam sa so ngone tinde Kichala Yabana in Pet Ishala Chimbatangido, and Sonam Sagido, Chome Pugido, Chome Tonda Tita Pugido, the Tanga Pangola Chumenacha Priamido Sambita, some cont chutney, and a moral Dumbusi, or the Captain Dumbusi, the Pesach, and Dumbusungi, any Basarni, Marching, the Chomekanji Matuchumari. The Chomekanji Mogi. 다 gebegi chumi tonda ti nalola nyamdu pulne ane jesu iran chebarata kanjanganda gebu gidini chebat pemese sonam la pache sabare ane nge di chumi kanchi ki sonam ke semje pa to me pa ane pe sharap ki nawai yegi chetu yin sampe kono dili jagani pularita kanjanganda.
So during Buddha's time, he was saying he don't remember specifically the name of the king, but there was a king who did a great extensive kind of virtuous activity, including offering of 1,000 lambs, and he was doing all of this with this sort of sense of maybe a little arrogance or haughtiness that I'm going to do this. And at the same time, there was a old lady who was poor, begging. But the old lady, when she saw the king's great deeds of performing virtuous activity, she had a great sense of admiration, a sense of rejoicing from her heart, with the thought that this is a very, admirable, great thing that king has a wealth and possessions, and likewise he is doing all this offering and virtuous activity. And but however, I don't have any, such kind of wealth possessions to offer. And she has at that time she has a 3 kind of shell, which is considered as a currency at that time. Bought 1 lamb and offer that along with the king's kind of 1,000 lambs, and with a great sense of rejoice, she also made a prayer that this 1 lamb that I offered be in the future benefits for all other beings regarding their kind of, awakening or illuminating or, developing, cultivating wisdom. So she made such prayers.
티제도 갈라 데네다 처메디 똥다디 푸요도 갈라 다 처메 점박한가 천하공라 남네 남살와다 다 남살서 갈라 조소로다
Mhm.
아니 뭐기 처메 다동 생이 저가 남라나야 다동 처메티 바르데고 야 뭐기 처메 공디 중국어래 제베딜레 중국에 요르데 다동 뭐디 점박 제베 피샤기 처메 간가 바존에 다동 뭐기 처메 다동 바르데도 갈라 데네 셔르부기 상길라 주 여비기 처음에 때는 전화고 산책가 지는 마소서 뭐기 처음에 더동이나 뱃견 마소버지 더동 뱃서버지는 바르기도 이 유강이 깽강이 있으네 아니 시르방이 상길 티발
So, offering of that thousands of lamb along with the old ladies. So, through the night, the king's offering were all sort of, exhausted and came to end, burn out. But old ladies' lamp or butter lamp is still burning despite of being smaller in size. And then Shariputra, asked Buddha, what was the causes and factors behind such kind of happening.
아니 상기기 디 삼레토 그레스 아니 겨부기 용어부들이 따니 아니 이 미생기 다 뜻바탕에 레와다 집거네 포인도가나 처마들래 아니 네바시다 메레스 아니 뭐게 처음에 중중 레테 그 삼로 똑게 좀 깨발레스 겹에텔라 예스가 제바 마제베 코랑기 처음에 중중 대기 뭐야디 타입이 선진 상매 시럽이 나와 배비지도 뭐가 인자 뒤처음에 대 숙제다 어체다 이 요령 바르기 힘들어스
And Buddha responded by saying that is because differences of the power of thought or, power of mind, maybe intention. The king did it out of his kind of power, his wealth, possessions, with the kind of hope of appreciation, fame. But the old lady did completely out of pure good motivation. Not only she had immense rejoice in king's performance, but whatever she had, the only one lamb she dedicated therefore the the wisdom of all other beings, and that's the reason why her lamb stayed much longer, much with more clarity.
오다 디 긴젤라 때네 애니 쟁기 그걸로 예수 이란지 메시키다 단다 여러분이 소환하지래 아니 랍 저 중의지기네 그거 랍찬 사야기 아니 배천 달라는 매바지다 어디 뭐게 준비간이 감사 시트지로
So from that kind of old ladies, action, we can know, as what Tsongkhapa said earlier, with a very small kind of minor task can yet accumulate immense positive merits.
오케이. 되네. 손자 디 저발랍진 사바 마제페 애니 쟁기 개월을 예수 이란 지야디다. 에 아주 타도기 있는 것도 그렇고. 타도 좀
And this rejoicing of others' activity can, additional to that, also serve as an antidote to jealousy.
타도 세야 되는 것이 지소 나라 여러 치수지로 가. 콘도다 타도 이디.
And jealousy is one of the main kind of troublemaker, next to or other than hatred or anger.
손자 애니 타도 여디 갈라. 애니 댄슨 레용 거리. 댄슨 레도 가네 애니 다 단 마토도 갈라 애니 노바키에 레용 거. 애니 콘도에서 거 리지브라 나용.
Yes. So when there's a jealousy, it brings a sense of competition. And in the competition, when you're not able to win, then it makes you to harm or challenge or, do all kinds of problems.
sonza ene tato dita pe diba miyo nani ruwa ta iki miyo napsam pe temerse ta tato dita ene pe miyo nani miyo shukchishu chichadoyo sonza nganzu yengi gewa la yesu iran che yengi chawa lebu chingi la yesu iran che pe misi kichimbari le labo rewa ta kwa ta yambaji ina kale kayo dusine nganzu che tuwa marwa tanda di samlegi yesu yana che ta ngone tani ta nganzu che tuya chi ta che waya chi cha.
And jealousy is one of the very powerful affliction. And therefore, rejoicing in others' kind of good activity is important, but it's also extremely easy. There's really no excuses, of not doing it. And it's simply kind of having a thought. And it's something that is very doable, and we must do it.
오, 다 예수 yana che 찾아와도 최지 샤봐도 예수 yana 아니 냐가 초고고 그와 스타디레 단다 이시바드인가 바드레
Tuba.
두바드레도 오 초고고 그에 다 두바드 차들.
And therefore, the sixth one is, in one word, request. And the request to turn the wheel of Dharma, or request to give teachings.
다 초고고 그래서는 마세나 단다고만 최소로 제일 나다.
Yes. In straightforward language, it means, give teachings.
리퀘스트 왔죠.
Request to give.
다 예전에 셰요나 파조베기 루메응웨네 시로지에서 말라버도 셰초고 말해 대상이 좀 된다기 가래.
So Buddha's own kind of, order or instruction is that even if teacher has a lot to say, unless, from the other side, there's no request, one is not allowed to kind of teach or talk.
티페미세 기자 뭐버려 봐.
Yes.
이게 직가래 세동알라 파르베기 시로지에서 셰용도갈라 그 년도 여바다 그때라 돈아 여바디 때용 거 봐.
Yes.
다셰 리퀘스트나 다 네버도 셰고 그래 세상에.
And there are many reasons why Buddha kind of made such kind of, orders. And the one is when somebody requests to give teaching, immediately it kind of tells that that person has that person has an interest, and that person has a desire of knowing, or so once there's a request, then the teacher must teach. So if the teacher doesn't teach according to the request, then there is a fallacy or non-virtuous activity created.
Yeah, 파르베기 리퀘스트 맞아 이제 셰샤에나 견지부지고.
But then there's also a great fault if you taught without any request being made.
그 가르치고리 세도갈라. 다 파르베기 레와 맞아 건데 샤바디. 아니 그 니니메나 전셰 차고 왔다.
Yes.
에레. 그 섬로 니니만로나 셰트 봐.
And if there was no request being made from other side, and if you kind of said it, teach, it becomes sort of kind of, it's like a forcing upon somebody to listen you.
솔다타티 팅상 라파르도 지소 디나로라 출루 남마 유세 지소나로다 네버도 삽삽치고야. 가르서나 yen기 마쿠르워 에네 최신이 좋아디 때 팀데 뺀미세기 다 지소 팅뒤 값은 네버도 그거 봐지다. 이건 좀 뭐이네요. 근데 삽삽치고야지 자워.
And this kind of Buddhist instruction is especially important in our time when there are, diverse religious tradition, and especially teachers should be careful of not kind of, openly or forcing others to listen to you, and one should be careful. And this kind of sort of regulation is something very much needed.
믹세기 누초가 그러고 차서는 여름지게 따버리지 가능 되도 와.
Especially in the West, His Holiness the Dalai Lama often emphasize on this.
sonza 여름지기 아니 네 출루기에 등에 휴닝에 디 선로거랑 당기면서 와. 다디 경험지가 샬 성부지 수야 되다 사이 좀 된데기 다가 원에 그 뒤던 삼바 디체나 년도 매번 셰디 잔식 셰야다 아니 연출라 규리하기 탑랑지 러시아 대상라 그때 여름부지나 섭섭시고 신난 게 도와대.
And so that's why His Holiness, is extremely careful about this, especially in the West. When he comes to the West, he openly says that he is not at all, interested in converting to Buddhism from other religion. And this is something that is, again, very much kind of timely, something that is needed in our time. And it also kind of helps not sort of, forcing somebody else to listen to you, and through that, not kind of harming or hurting other religious tradition.
손자 어디리 제티고 여럽 조선도 tumba 팀도 tumba 지소나 강요 미세보다 아니 사기 좀 된게 왜 나올라 마솔로를 미자고 세다 담에 터지 어디 손샤리 마소 미세서 가라 마소서도 소 만데 빨치 마셔 수리 따티페 미세기 랍자 사기 두무만 게 랍자 지로보다.
So therefore, that kind of action is ethical, it's kind of legal, something that is beneficial to community at large, and not creating any seed or cause of the problems or conflicts. And in the sutra, Buddha said that not doing when there's no request. Basically, he's saying that not teaching if there's no request. And so this is something very timely instruction for us, as well as very unique, instruction by Buddha.
어디도 갈라다 당주 법이 지소서라 남비 지소 나놀라다 죽었고 구에 개디페 미세기다 단다 수변하시래 거기 인생 뭐보여 내게 개침부인 부지 차대열에 손자 내전인데 다디 부지 차
Yes. So therefore, in the Buddhist community, it is important that request has to be made, to turn or to give teachings for many good reasons. So this is the number 6 of the 7 limb practice.
자서 저지 시합하다 신스기랑 그렇지 소한테 봐
No,
누가래
dumba soda.
눈봐
Dumba soda.
소한테 봐 있나 어디 접수
Yeah.
저기 골로고 고고한테 말해
저거 그거 같아.
고하다
사실한다.
6 one 5 단다 두바라 다 눈바딜라 디서 찾아와도 진짜 제대로 그래서 이거 중자다기 좀 탐정 소비 찬주지 뭐지
Yes.
라스트
Yes.
다 눈바딜 뭐지
And the 7th one is dedication.
다 디페미세 양 개체조지 자고와 가르에서도 갈라 고랑 남배 중 고랑나로라 토타니라 저니 이슬라베 토미 군온다 애니 주기 뭐니 때 개체조 자고 다 이거 잡아이나 다 이거 집으스 말에 저 카레지 잡아이나 저디 야가지잖아요 토타니 개체차리 누지 저이나 토타니 개체차들.
So dedication practice at the end is important because this, expression saying that 2 tasks, one at the beginning and one at the end. And this is not only in creating virtuous or positive activity, but this can apply basically to any activities that you do, even something negative, destructive, having one at the beginning and another task at the end.
레다 페나 드린 건저 기디 야라 좀 마셔버리대. 마셔 공동에 군노 주술 디 셰고 같은 건저 마셔버고 다 근데 딩냠도 셰셔는 되기도 하고.
So for this session, when we are discussing about 7 in practice, actually I have to start with intention, but I didn't did that, so I'm going to do right now.
손자 군노 디 먼저 디 취지 니기 아니 레가디 야 당독세 따사디 셰베링가 야바도 다 지금 많이 봐. 토미 군노 디 잠보당 넘바 간데카리케 텔라랄레데.
So the time that we spent, discussing on this, whether an hour or two, whether it is going to be beneficial, good or not, it should not be simply looking at, the duration that we are doing it, but rather we need to also look at the motivation at the very beginning why we are doing this. So it depends, the quality or whether it is good or positive or negative depends a lot on the intention.
셰디 단당서 개버침 비치에 시고르데 토메 군노디 군조숨라 캡숨 로베 군노메나 아니 개버침 비치에 셰나디 사게 비치에 군나 추고 말이.
So although the topic, the content that we are doing is about Mahayana Dharma, but if we don't have a good intention of such as refuge, then what we are talking doesn't become actually Mahayana practice.
어디 데네 다 개버침 비치에서 소마선세 갑디디기 먼저 섬로 군노디 랑이 야와더네 옌기 체도이면 군노지 메나 아니 가지 최신 년시제티 아니 개버침 비치에 군라 레고 말다.
So whether it becomes a Mahayana practice or not, it depends on the intention of benefiting for others, not oneself. But if you have that thought of benefiting others, then our practice becomes Mahayana practice.
그 인도가라 개회저 가리리 시제바이나 야다 차차바이나 한다 야 마네타와이나 한다 야틀레 다 이게 전부 주디찌그링라 개와지 제바이나 한다 가리 제나 답에 문도 좀더 생겼던 동그랬다 거기 샤샤레 그러와 된 동고에 근선데 어디 두고 가리 좀더 문도 좀더 다 대제라 체메시 돼야지 아니 상이 쳐져서도 원래 좀더 생겼는 거 샵생이 문도 땅내 세대 초가 상면 하나 열어봤다.
So whatever positive activities that we do, whether it is prostration, recitation of mantra, or simply discussions, it depends on the motivation. And that's the reason why, we always start with recitation of refuge prayer and generating of bodhicitta, and then followed by 4 immeasurables. And this becomes sort of ritual, something that is must and done by everyone. And so in all ritual practice, refuge and bodhicitta is something that is sort of, always needed and always done.
어디 인도가라 도미 군노데 기좀 차기도 와. 손자 다 드나가서 주디 지그 니리라도 셔버리데 셔네 군노 상보요리 버도 의지 값수 죄니 시제야 다네 대바좀 비추이 시고리 절 배선 버시고리 다 그걸로 붙이지 사셔보다 다 그걸로 전지 리와 있음기고니 그걸로 전지 사바티 다 먼저 라메 장주도 망원하고 맞잖아 아니 티 그와 랍침보티 먼저 되니 칠로도 되가라 미팅념도야 그 머리 버체 콘도치게나티 콘도디기 그걸 랍친디 매버치죠 좀 쉬고
So therefore, at the beginning, it's always important to have a good intention, motivation, and then in the middle, also we kind of engage in Mahayana practice, basically talking about thoughts and actions of benefiting others. And so whatever positive merits that we have accumulated throughout, past couple of hours, if we don't dedicate this at the end for the, such as attaining of enlightenment, then later when we walk out and meet somebody, and if there's a thought of anger, that anger will destroy what we have accumulated within these past sessions.
어디래 단다 준준하려요 다다 견서 생기능이 근데 준주로 달로 있나봐 아 예당 대비 디발메 조발 대비 같은 메시 예당 대비 디발 메시디 타고 예당 디 끼지지기 같이 레미다 셰디 노르 그래 아 준준하려라 그 초심 끼지지 해나봐 초심 끼지지 해나양 칼바빠도 메페 사베기 디바디 가서 개와디 종그레 셰셰
Yes.
다 딜라양 림바 뭐부체래 따탄다고 만들디나 어디리 지래 초심 끼지기 개와랍 침부 빠도 메페네 사시베 개와랍 침티서 좀 두고 종그레
So in the Shantideva's text guide to the Bodhisattva's way of life, it talks about one moment of anger can destroy the immense positive merit that we have created.
어때 띠인도가라 먼저 죽텔라 에네 개와체 바티 라니 치비치도 많이 봐 타이 베섬전 탐제 네페 라메 전주 토비 규지 선배 닝 타파니 외샤바이나 에네티 타 콘도 가제샤나디 좀 두고 말
So at the end, end of session, when we dedicate that whatever positive merits that we accumulated, not for me, but dedicated for all other sentient beings in attaining ultimate, Buddhahood, then even later, if we have anger, it won't be able to destroy.
카르레에서도 갈라 단대 개와 랍침부디 섬제 탐제 다음에 셈에 베기 아니 전주 톱지 동호인 동안 땜부시비 차려
Because when we did that dedication, sort of strove for the unlimited numbers of sentient beings, that virtuous, action or karma becomes extremely kind of stable.
인생대 인도가라 전주류 담배 나올라 개와 정근 추신이 지도네 아니 그 뉴든지 그래서
Yes.
전주 생기 미자 타파라에 배 전주 porto 뺏기네 만지바 네트워크에 세대 인생대 따뜻한 토르와
Yes.
전주류 담배 나올라
And so for that reason, again, Shantideva's guide to the Bodhisattva's way of life in chapter 1, it talks about, all other positive activities created will sort of, it's
전주 생기 맞은 배가와도 추신나지래서 전주 생기 진배가와도 준신나지
yes.
그 러리니르 드부에니 미세바이 펠그레사디
Positive activity created without bodhicitta would be like, banana tree or plantation, right? It will kind of, disappear or cease. But bodhicitta, positive activity with the motivation of bodhicitta, would ripen, the result all the time.
어다 인생 어디다 삼고네 맞아 개와 체중 가르쳐베나 아니 선지신이 주도 뭐가 이렇게 좀 그래 아니 내가 좀 배나 빼서 섭자부터 집지잖아
So therefore, it is important for us to kind of dedicate, whatever virtuous activity that we created for the sake of all other sentient beings. And that would be kind of equal to like a saving, depositing money in a saving account.
어디 찾아와도 최진샤바 시스로 고이진양을 믿는다고 써다 봉화스네 다 모아지바 때려다 다양 몰람 생긴장 요래 모아다 몰람 세트 오케이 땅에디 몰람 뒤도 자샤나 다 손장 연락 딩긴나네 되니 다 당보 ngabote kasa Yesu irang wata shape yala mato ba yamba ngabote ani sonam ki tsoki gyu sangi yi kutubje ki gyu kuzu tubje ki gyu zugu tubje ki gyu niba tanda Yesu irang wa di chacho de Yesu irang ko ji so to ba ngate do okay tani ti norsha 간지간다 티 열라 dumbote sonam ki tsore ta ton ma ti singa shek ba sonam ki tso sangi ki zugu tubje ki gyu ishi ki chote sangi ki namken tu tubje ki gyu yana ishi chugu tubje ki gyu to sene ene tampa kuni topar sho se ti kichati tirita.
So in brief, when we make a prayer, may we attend to a supreme body of the Buddha. The seven limb practices becomes cause of attaining Buddha's form body, while the wisdom becomes the cause to attain the wisdom body of the Buddha.
ngabuti ene tension so sapas ene shabe yala de galken tipa shwas ta sitin na do ta dumbuti din na do
Yes.
ene Yesu irawati ngoda molam dingi ene ngar galken so shaba dan tension tipa jongwe ge sonam dingi ene kompel tonje gi güçük.
Yes.
Tangar sabati kompel tawati yanshor zeba me parwa. Zeba me ba. Takini kaze longcho na ya ze mepe. Ene mepe dubji gi güçüla. Dici varsa ngodi. Ngodi.
The other way of kind of grouping of these seven limb practices, confessional purification is for purifying obstacles and obscurations, and then rejoicing and dedication is to further promote what you have accumulated, sort of unending, and then remaining would become kind of purely for accumulations of positive merits. You can classify in that way too.
손자 대지 먼저 배지 샤링바 뭐 감메기 좀메티 다 빼기 다 된다 다다고 그래도 도와드게 그 잡아매 받고 빼 겨비기 좀메 좀 발레 그디 유리 온데서 다디 대상이 뒤레더레디 저거 잡아매 받지 so 롱전나 제메겠지
inexhaustible. It becomes inexhaustible in a sense that the more you kind of use it, it will be always there, unending. So that would be in the earlier we used an example of old lady offering and her kind of lamp staying continuously, and so in that sense, no, it just seems.
Molam sedi ta molam di ngonjogi molam ta gi zeji go gar chi jungari ne men anda ngonjogi molam dero je se ne gumi chu chu piyati ko molam gi zeji le teng go molam sedi sai chipare ko ni ga yor show se chipare rete ngote la ze mo go bitoni ngoya dire molam sedi ko zeji ko chirol gi zeji puiche 티 영어쇼스 때에 손자 뭐도 몰람 딩이 엔 잡아매 보고는 건 배기 답람지 손자 연락 딩기 이거 다 되지
몰람라 제고 좀 그지 뭐를 제고래 뭐로 죄송
뭐를 제고래
so Geshe was explaining the differences between dedication prayer and prayer in general. So dedication prayer, there has to have something, some substance to dedicate. But without any substance, you can just make a prayer. So that's the difference between prayers and dedication prayer. No.
아니 여러 뒤에서 데이터 손음 솔라버스 사야 tellatene kuinito heta ti shabana jire oda dindi yoya ngaji tuigindu samlane kerbuare yala thank chese nada otende chin enjoy nangazi jelto
So through the practice of seven limb, branches, we can accumulate so that it can become ultimately the cause of attaining two bodies of Buddha, and we can make that prayer as well as put into practice. And so we will end here, and questions if you have.
The king that you were talking about, Makeda,
Macheda
Mm.
so
another shot.
okay Macheda yep yeah you're right
Unrelated question.
Sure, any question you can ask.
any question
What is the mind of a Buddha is unchanging. What is the logical that's what people I've read that. Is that wrong?
Yeah.
Because I have read multiple times that
Well, go ahead and keep asking.
Yeah.
What-
so I have read places that a Buddha's mind is unchanging. Is that right? And if so, what is the logical reasoning behind that? Because I can't figure it out myself.
산계 투죠로.
아
또 투라서 캠발란디 아니 고랑기 시엔지라는 배 규로명해지게. 규로명해지는 고선 스터디 탐고대 뒤다다로야 말을 또. 되게 진행받으시는 뒤 김제 관리를 돼.
gyome pa sedungala sanji kusung to gyome sedungala nganzu phaba na jin tiri reslam na sangi maresini tenden gyome pare re tindi jire mato tuita to ko demba chedungala demba te demba kora takara gyome pa chadio wa demba ne dorwa ota odindi jile sha ko mo chidani mita bi gyome gyo kejeti te shigo mo
So Geshe was saying here, when you say unchanging, the unchanging, what does that unchanging means? It's not sense the usual way we explain, such as like because of impermanence, in not that sense, but unchanging meaning that because
iri insana sangi mesle ko nganzu thamabeke
so he's saying using example of ordinary people who would say something true today, tomorrow false. But for Buddha, that's not the case. It's always unchanging in that sense.
demba kadu ina demba ne derkota
So the truth is always the truth.
yeah
A teacher recently talked about the fact that we have thoughts that are dual and we have non-dual thoughts.
Mhm.
Trying to understand what that means. Or thoughts that are dual, thoughts that we attach to, non-dual thoughts that we just notice that come up and we don't.
The ni lo da peje mo ran de sewa hong zi ni nang chen la gu sir.
어디 레기스
Ni nang chen de la dong de la ni nang chen la de. Mo zi sim de ni nang chen le sta de kan de lo de ya sewa hong mo so sa. Peje de lang men do. When you say dual means dual appearances. Okay.
니랑 세도가라 먼저 dir zoa de zimbani sosoni zoa de zimba de na zoa pigi yul la yabaji 먼저 tamawala diniji ni suna na chergorwa ta tombani yabu to degenji ta nyamja zabi shingorde tende yul la yuche tate to na te yomares tengatsares ni suna de ngani eni ngo yeme 로직도 유진이 뭐에면 로직도 나온 거 알았어. 그지 어디 있는 거라 라이트.
If it's a dual appearances, then usually apprehending subjective mind and then apprehended external object out there. So to ordinary people, it experience as something to subjective mind and external object out there, something to independent entity. But to Aryas in a deep meditative equipoise, to them there's no duality. There's no duality, and the nature of what it is out there and how it is perceived by the subjective mind comes in kind of one nature. There's no duality.
That not duality is a dogala tapena. Zoa de Zimbani, so me said the you'll the Tanaga Toya, the you rang into a tongue. The rang into what the tongue and dogala, Tewangi, Korana, Pajoni, Kandeji, Yabati, Pajoni was in dogala, and tell me pen to charge the Muslim came over. That Tombani was you Korang when a tongue dogala, you'll take Tomba toy dogala, Pagini meba, Eugene Shipping part that's a member. Tende yude yujingi nelu chiorwa. Tako tomba ni tobelo di nelu tobelorwa. Nelu tomba de ishi korang di ngor yul diri yujin diri ze sosoni keke yomares. Di nis me pas chekle meke.
When we say non-dual, none here, to ordinary mind, it appears that when we look out, the external object out there exists as if, it is independent, objectively out there. And because of that, appearance, then it takes to kind of, that kind of mode of apprehension as attachment, anger, hatred, and all of the rest comes from that. And somebody who has realizations of emptiness does not have that kind of perception that things exist independently, objectively, inherently out there. Rather, it is merely designated by a subjective mind. So there's no that kind of duality that ordinary person perceives, because the mind that perceives emptiness is the mind that perceives the reality. And so the reality, understanding or apprehension does not have that duality or that divisions of, subjective mind and objective out there.
So is that what you just said during the direct perception of emptiness, or is that in the post meditation or
Under the Nyamsha Galdrella, the Cheto Galdrella,
Nyamsha.
meditative equipoise.
I have a question about dedication, just to clarify my own understanding. Once the merit is dedicated for the benefit of all sentient beings, which would include oneself, too, I would think. A subsequent moment of anger can't destroy that merit that has already been dedicated. Is that because it's essentially gone? Almost like Len, giving your merit out to whatever your object of meditation is. Is that the way? Is that understanding correct?
Ngwa machina kondu ki chumdu larwa. Tendi da ngwa chesuna endi tongling na chichinda shenpal te cawa. Tendi zaman teko mewa shasi den chume yo marwa. Ondi de sam dukstang na tiku roya lukdu. Ko chume me di zaman
Jala ngwa shade.
Shen ngwa chide ko yo marwa. Mena enta ko mewa chaya yo marwa.
Jala tang jibara khati chi ngwa de simji jala ngwa yarwa.
No, tenda ondu tus kwa jina tiku roya lukdu. Yeah, it's saying same thing as what it said earlier. So yeah, I do the same.
Yeah.
Any other question?
So in regards to now this is about merit, but in karma is definite. Karma is increasing the four. Give me the term for what of karma.
Four principles.
Four principles of karma. Does merit also have principles in which it is increasing, definite, so on and so forth?
Nam yung azu lela di legi keju ro shegro ma cheba da mariba cheba pichu masbaji. Dineng shi keju de ge ngowa lo yoro lo ngowa Quran chesha na endi Quran ko pe ro ji da color, Cheba de Maseba, and the Mola Gilde, Keju Jarishurot, and she wrote.
le 제가 준비해서 기지기다.
근데 ngoalege Keju in the Ural, the watches us now, which you miss us, the Konoga pay to it.
로아타. 페나 디바다 그와니가 직속으로도. 디바데 마샤 자샤나. 에코 니만 더블 3% 펠려야 직지. 약수저 개와이나 ngo체바이나 양코 때 개와티 고 고네 공도 펠 미세파 차야 되고 직바르데.
Since this comes under the law of karma, it applies equally. On the one hand, non-virtuous activity, if done purify, kind of multiplies. On the other hand, virtuous action, if you dedicate, it also multiplies.
Yep. Correct.
Yeah.
Good.
For me, a takeaway message is we need to purify and dedicate throughout the day, every day.
Continue watch those.
Already.
No.
Any dedication, Jintanshana.
Euro. There's a dedication in here.
49.
Constant Google.
49.
That's a Semjo Rembo Je Maje Kwana Ye Je Chewa Yamba Meba Yang Kwane Wando Pelwa Re Kore Chinga De Lenda Dewa Mali Jongwe Jere Zewa Denze Gyatso Jabe Sede Gatu Tengochi Yambe Bawe Jidra Jemba Dangundo Sambo Tean Peshin Era Gunge Jason Dalo Jewa Dida Samche Rabdu Ezomon Shaben Gyawa Tamje Gingo Kama Chodo Naba Najin Zawa Bigwin Sambo Shuje Rabdu Jewel Buddha that has not arisen or rising in hell, and may that which is arisen not diminish, but increase more and more. In the land, the serpent vegetable of mindless, the sorrows of all happiness is influenced, person to person, generously. This means samsara ends. Just as the Buddhists of common Jewish in omniscience, it's a wonder God, the truth. So now do I do to create and as all the great Buddhas of the past, present, and future, praise dedication as supreme. So now I wish to dedicate this social reminder for them.
Thank you.
Thank you.